Alright, now we get to the point where we're going to power up the lathe and run it. I was going to do this yesterday, but I ran into two problems. One, I read the instruction manual, which, you know, I like Mac and everything, but this manual is dog shit as far as I'm concerned. And two, in the wall of my house, I have one of these self-testing outlets. It has a little breaker on there. And somehow the way the house is wired, it's a newer house, whenever I plug something in these back outlets on the back wall of the garage, it would trip this damn thing. It won't trip the main breaker and the lights and stuff won't go out, but it'll just trip the power to the outlets. And I was trying to follow these instructions. It was highly confusing. I'll go through it, and this little thing tripped and I didn't see it. And I couldn't get this lathe to start for anything. And I took it apart and examined everything, looked for loose wires, nothing. Did send an email to Matt, and I will say something. On a Saturday afternoon, he got back to me, I'd say within not even an hour, 2 hours, he had a reply. And he told me that all the machines are tested electrically before they're shipped. So he said, there's something I'm missing, just go over it again, and you know, step by step what I've done. And he tried to help me. But I figured out what it was is every time, once I figured the controls out, this thing. So I bought a new one and replaced it. Now my electrical problems are gone. So that was one problem. Now let's go to the other problem. We're going to take a look at this and the controls and the instructions. Okay, if you read these instructions and look at the diagram, it basically tells you to plug in the machine and press the start button, which is here. Okay? Then it says the display should light up. So going by the instructions, just to make this easier, I'll tell you the procedure to start this machine up. Okay, from what they're saying, as you plug this thing in, press start, okay, which it's plugged in and that, nothing happens. Alright? And if you go by the instructions, it's highly confusing and it'll drive you crazy. So let me tell you, basically, we just cut through the crap and get to how you start it up. When the machine shows up, there's like a breaker on the back. It's a little blue thing. It's down. It's down, and if you look, you'll see like two little windows in the sheet metal. They'll be blue. Flip that up. Flip that breaker up, and you should see red plastic through the little viewports. So the breaker's up. Flip the breaker up in the back. Okay, now you got the breaker in the back on. Plug it into the wall, standard outlet. Okay. Now in the instructions, they tell you to release the emergency stop button, which is here. Okay. No matter what you do, until you set this up, and basically emergency stop works, you press it down, it cuts all the power off. You see the little arrows, you turn it, and it pops up. Pop that up. Turn it, pop it up. Because if you don't, this machine won't do anything. It won't power up at all. Now it says to press the start button. And the start button, according to the diagram, is this green thing. You can press this till the end of time. Nothing's going to happen. Here's this switch here. Now this switch shows like a cutting tool here. It's 0, 1, 2, and like a slitting saw or drill up here. Somehow this control panel is set up for a machine that has a milling attachment. Okay? And there isn't a milling attachment. So, and it calls it drill or lathe switch, and it doesn't say that anywhere in the instructions. So what you do is you turn it to 1, And when you do that, now your display lights up. Okay? So your display's lit up and that. Now if you press the emergency stop, it's off. So if you did this without releasing the emergency stop, you won't get the light. So you turn that, now you got your RPM display, I'll call it, whatever. So your display's here. And it says forward and stop on there. Okay? Now to start this, once we get to this point, we got power, we got the display. Now you got these two buttons here. This is reverse, this is forward. When it comes this way towards you, it's forward to turn. And if it spins counterclockwise, it's reverse. So you depress this here, and then it'll say forward, like it's already been selected. Then you press start. And away we go. Now this is your, I got it on, like I showed you in the other video, I guess I got it in low gear. So you got it in there, and it's going about 60-40 RPM. It's the slowest it goes. Now, to stop it, just press the red button. Okay? Or, you press this, and it cuts the power to the whole machine. Okay? Also, make sure that none of your feeds, your carriage, cross slide, or that half nut are engaged. Because the minute you start this up, it will start moving. So check that too. You know, do follow the instructions and make sure none of your automatic feeds are engaged. So I'll go through that one more time. We'll have the emergency stop. You get the machine, flip the breaker, the little blue handle up, make sure you see the red. Plug the machine into the wall. Come up here forward, trip or reset your emergency stop to where it is off. Okay? Because if you don't, when you try to put the power on, it won't do nothing. Reset your emergency stop. Turn this dial to 1. You should get your display. And it's on forward. Okay, so you can either put forward, and I don't know if you can see, when you press that button it says reverse. We want to go forward. We're going to go forward. Press the green button. It starts, and well, you can't see it, but your lead screw and the other things also start rotating. And there you go. Now the instructions say to run this for 2 minutes and forward, stop the machine, everything else, and then run it in reverse. Make sure everything's for 2 minutes. A lot of these things tell you to break in the spindle and run it for 10 minutes or 30 minutes at one speed and bump the speed up. Now your speed control is this dial here. And you just turn it. It's another feature I like about this machine. 250. But the only thing I don't like, when I get into about, starts to vibrate a little, about 500 RPM. That's a little over 1100. Now, I've never owned any other brands of machines, but this one does. It is way quieter than any videos I've seen with other guys running machines. Alright, so we're running it, and now say you just want to stop, okay? you can just press this red button and it'll stop. Okay, let's go back to running it. And say you're turning, something's wrong, whatever. You got your emergency stop, you know, your carriage starts moving or you're not sure and you want to stop immediately, just hit this. And it should stop everything. I think when you stop this, it'll stop the drive also. So that's basically how you power it up. And then reset your emergency stop, you get your light. And when you're done for the day, you turn this switch back to 0, and I guess the machine is off. So that's your power up. And that's how you power the machine up again. Now I'll go over again. Make sure the breaker's up, plugged in, emergency stop off, turn it to 1, and then you got your buttons. The manual and its description is highly confusing. It confused the hell out of me. And it's like with any machine, you got to learn the controls, because all machines, even though there's, you know, they do the same thing, the controls are different. And actually, this thing, I didn't turn that all the way over to here, so I don't know what the RPM is on this, and that's supposedly in the low gear. It's 50 to 1,000. It goes over 1,000, and then it's 100 to 2,000. And on the plate here, you might not be able to see it. I doubt I'll be turning anything at 2,000 RPM. And like I said, about 500, we start to wobble. So hopefully that will make it easy for you, the explanation on how to power it up and get it running. Then we'll look at some of the controls here in this video too. Alright, we've done our warm-up. I've run this forward, reverse. All the controls work. Everything's in good shape. The only thing is when we get up to about 500 RPM there is some wobble. But on these small machines, that's just comes with the territory. If you don't want the machine to wobble, buy one that weighs 1,000 or 2,000 pounds. We'll work more on that later. But right now, we know the controls work, everything's good. Now we're going to go to our carriage and check out our other controls. One thing about this, Matt's been doing a pretty good job of upgrading and giving people what they want out of the machine. He has had them change, there's your lead screw, which is that top one, and that's what you're going to use for cutting your threads. And then that bar on the bottom, that's where your clutch is. That's what drives your feed. The only time you use that lead screw is when you're cutting threads and use the half nut. And there's your stop, which you can set this up. And when you hit that, that clutch will trip and knock this feed out. So it looks like he's changing the dials also to where it's 1,000ths on the cross slide. I believe also it's 1,000ths up here on the compound rest, but I'll check all that out later. You do have your thread dial here running, and the only thing is the graduation on this looks like 1.5 thousandths per tick mark or something, so this may still be in some sort of metric mode or something. But there's ways around it. You don't need a DRO. As I get into running this, I'll show you some little tricks where you can get a precision measurement on the depth. And I think the tailstock, if I'm not mistaken, kind of difficult. It's got graduations in both millimeters and in inches. So they got you covered. Alright. Now, let's go to our controls. The half nut. Now on a simpler machine, a smaller machine, you wouldn't have this square bar, the half nut runs everything. Your feeds, your speed, your feeding, and that is all done with your half nut. Okay, on this machine, we do have a lever for your feeds. So let's go over the half nut. The half nut works like anything. You see the arrows pointed there to where it's disengaged, and then when you slop it over, it's engaged. And you set your gears in that for your threads per inch. Use this chart up here. I don't know what it's set for, but we're just going to engage it and watch it go. Okay, so you turn that over till it engages. And there she's feeding. Now, when you use the half nut, you cannot use the stop. Okay, don't ever use the solid stop with the half nut. When you're threading, you engage it, make your cut, then disengage it. Okay, we'll go more into that when we get into cutting some threads with this, and that's where you get to use your thread dial too. Alright, so here's your lever for your feeds, the cross slide and the longitudinal. Now you go in, the feeds are set in it's per revolution. Get in here. Like that'll go 8/10 per revolution, 1,007 per revolution, up to like 6,000. Even the fastest one here looks like 11 thousandths per revolution. And that does kind of made up with the faster you get the speed, the faster that rod turns. Okay, so we're just going to test out the feed. Now if you look down, you'll notice it tells you there the lever rotates one side to the other. When you rotate it like this, it'll do your cross slide feed, and when it's here, it does the longitudinal feed. Okay, and also this, you can disengage this. If you disengage this, pull it back, and engage the feed, it won't move. So make sure it's up and engaged down here. And we're going to go and do some feeding. So you rotate this where it shows you the direction, and I believe you have to have it going in reverse to make it go the other way. And I believe you pull it out, and this one, I think you okay, we're back. What happened was when I engaged and disengaged the half nut, when I disengaged, I swung it too far and it was blocking the movement of this. So I just had to jiggle that and get it in place. So we'll start it up again. And like I told you, how this works, you rotate this handle around, okay, like to there, and it locks in place. And it's showing you the direction it's going to feed the cross slide. And one of them goes one way. The cross slide goes down. When you depress it down, the handle starts to move. And like I said, I ain't got nothing rapid. You can adjust your speed. It's thousandths per revolution. Okay, then to disengage it, you just pull back and up. Okay, now to get it to feed longitudinal, you twist this around till the little indicator shows you that direction. Then you pull out and go up with it. So I got this all on slow, so I don't want to go speeding across. But as you'll see, it's relevant to how fast you're going. And then to disengage it, you pull up and go down. So that's your 2 feeds and your half nut, and everything's working fine. Everything's functioning the way it should. So that's our little test run in that. And we'll shut her off and power it down. Now I hope that helps some people, because like I said, the manual's confusing in that, but that's our test run and testing out everything after we got it cleaned up. And I may just go for the hell of it and take a cut on some steel just to show, you know, first cut. People like to see that.